I'm 80 now. I sit here on the porch most mornings now. The light comes slow, the way everything does at this age. There's a cup of coffee going cold beside me, and I don't mind. I've stopped rushing the small things. The birds come by, same ones I think, though I can't be sure. They don't seem to notice I'm here. Or maybe they do, and they've just grown used to the old man in the chair who doesn't move much anymore. 80 years. It feels like waking up from a long, restless sleep. The world still moves fast out there. Cars, voices, screens. And from here, things look different. Clearer, somehow. At 50, I thought I knew what mattered. I thought I had it figured out. I worked hard. I held on tight. I carried things I believed I had to carry, regrets like stones in my pockets. Resentments like old coats I couldn't throw away, even in summer. I smiled when I didn't want to. I worried what people thought. I tried to control everything, as if life was something you could hold in your fist without it slipping through. I thought all of that made me strong. I thought being prepared, being cautious, being in control, that was wisdom. At 80, I know it made me small. It kept me from living fully, from loving openly, from breathing all the way in. There are 5 things I wish I had let go of at 50. Moments I couldn't change. The job I didn't take because I was afraid. The words I didn't say to my father before he died. The person else's fault. I carried those scenes like a film reel that never stopped running. And every time I watched, I became smaller, more stuck, more convinced that my best days were behind me. With time I understood this. Regret doesn't honor the past. It doesn't fix anything. It just keeps you from being here, now, where life is still happening. At 80, I can see that the mistakes I made were part of learning to be human. They weren't failures. They were just life. Messy, imperfect, real. If I could go back, I'd tell my 50-year-old self, you did what you could with what you knew. That's enough. Let it rest. You're allowed to forgive yourself. But I can't go back, so I'll tell you instead. The second thing was resentment. There were people who wronged me, who lied, who betrayed my trust, who left when I needed them most, who chose themselves over me in ways that stung for years, even decades. I held on to that anger because I thought it protected me. I thought if I let it go, I was saying what they did was okay, that I was weak, that I didn't matter. But resentment doesn't punish them, it punishes you. At 80, I can tell you, the people you resent have moved on. They're living their lives, or they're gone, or they've forgotten entirely. And you're still sitting there, feeding a fire that only burns you. I had a friend once. We had a falling out over something I can barely remember now. Pride, probably, or fear. I didn't speak to him for 15 years. 15 years. He died 3 winters ago. I never got to say I was sorry, or that I missed him, or that the silence between us hurt more than whatever we fought about. I wish I'd let it go sooner. Not for him, for me. Because holding on didn't make me stronger. It just made me lonelier. The third thing I should have released was people-pleasing. I said yes when I meant no. I smiled when I was tired. I bet myself into shapes I thought would make others comfortable. And I did it so long I forgot my own shape. I thought being liked meant being safe. Being needed meant being loved. But people-pleasing doesn't create love, it creates distance. Because the person they liked wasn't really me. It was a version of me I thought they wanted to see. I remember my daughter once told me, when she was grown, that she never really knew what I thought about things. She said I was always agreeable, always fine with whatever. She said it felt like I wasn't really there. That broke me. Because I was there. I was always there. But I'd trained myself not to take up space, not to ask for too much, not to be inconvenient. What I know now, the people who matter don't need you to be smaller. They want you whole. They want your honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. They want you, not the version you think they'll accept. And the ones who can't handle the real you, they were never yours to keep. The fourth thing was the fear of judgment. I spent decades imagining what others thought of me. I dressed a certain way, spoke carefully, hid parts of myself that felt too much, too strange, too raw. I didn't pursue things I loved because I thought people would laugh. I didn't speak up in rooms where I had something to say because I thought I'd sound foolish. I was so afraid of being seen wrong that I barely let myself be seen at all. At 80, here's the truth no one tells you when you're young. Most people aren't thinking about you. Not because they don't care, but because they're busy thinking about themselves, their own fears, their own small wars, their own list of things they wish they'd done differently. And the ones who do judge you, they'll judge you no matter what you do. You could be perfect, and they'd still find something. That's not about you. That's about them. So you might as well be yourself. The weird, imperfect, trying your best version of yourself. Because that's the only version that gets to be free. The fifth thing, and perhaps the heaviest, was the need to control everything. I tried to plan it all. My career, my relationships, my children's lives. I wanted certainty in a world that offers none. I held on so tight that I missed the beauty of things unfolding on their own. When my son was young, I had this vision of who he'd become. I pushed him toward it. Gently, I thought. But looking back, I see how much I tried to shape him into something I needed, rather than letting him grow into who he was. He's fine now. Better than fine. But I wonder sometimes if he would have gotten there sooner, with less pain, if I'd just let go. Life, I've learned, is not a problem to solve. It's a river. You can't control where it goes. You can only decide whether to fight it or move with it. I spent too many years fighting, trying to force doors open that were meant to stay closed, trying to keep people who were meant to leave, trying to make things turn out a certain way because I thought that was the only way I'd be okay. But the river goes where it goes, and you go with it or you exhaust yourself trying not to. Now I sit here with open hands. The regrets have faded. Not gone, they're still there, quiet in the background, but they don't run the show anymore. The resentments have lost their teeth. I say no when I need to. I care less what strangers think. I've stopped trying to steer every moment. And you know what? I feel lighter than I did at 50. Lighter than I did at 60 or 70. Not because life got easier. It didn't. Loss is part of this stage. So is slowness. So is watching people you love disappear, one by one. But I'm not carrying what I used to. And that makes all the difference. If you're reading this and you're younger, maybe you're 40, 50, 60, I want to tell you something. You don't have to wait until you're 80 to let go. You don't have to carry these things for 30 more years before you realize they're not serving you. You can start now, this week, today. One small thing. One weight you don't need to carry anymore. A resentment you've held too long. A yes you can turn into a no. A worry about what someone thinks of you. A need to control an outcome that isn't yours to control. Let it fall. You'll be surprised how much space it makes. How much room there is to breathe when you're not holding so tight. And if you're my age, or close to it, maybe you're nodding right now. Maybe you see yourself in these words. Maybe you too carried things longer than you needed to. Maybe you're still carrying some of them. It's not too late to set them down. There's still time to be light. Still time to say the things you need to say. To forgive. To let yourself be forgiven. To stop performing and start living. However much time we have left and none of us knows, it's enough. If we use it well. I think about the moments that mattered most in my life, and none of them were the ones I planned. None of them were the ones I tried to control. They were the surprises, the accidents, the moments I let myself be vulnerable, the times I said what I really felt, the days I stopped pretending and just showed up as I was. Those are the moments that stay with me now. Not the promotions, not the achievements, Not the times I got it right or looked good or impressed someone. The moments that stay are the ones where I was simply, honestly, messily human. And the moments I regret most are the ones where I held back, where I said nothing when I should have spoken, where I chose safety over truth, where I let fear make my decisions. I wish I'd been braver sooner. Not the kind of brave that climbs mountains or starts businesses, though that's fine too. The kind of brave that says I love you first, that admits when you're wrong, that asks for help, that lets people see you cry. That kind of brave takes a lifetime to learn. And I'm still learning. Even now, at 80, there are mornings when I wake up and think about all the things I didn't do, all the people I didn't become, all the roads I didn't take. But then I come out here, to the porch, and I watch the light change, and I remember, I took the roads I took. I became who I became, and that has to be enough, because it's all there is. The life I lived, not the one I imagined, not the one I planned, the one I actually lived with all its detours and disasters and unexpected grace. And when I look at it that way, when I stop comparing it to some perfect version that never existed, I can see that it was beautiful, not perfect, not easy, not what I expected, but beautiful in its own crooked way. There's a peace that comes with that, a kind of surrender that doesn't feel like giving up. It feels like coming home. I don't know how much time I have left. None of us do. But I know this. I'm not spending what's left holding on to ghosts. I'm here, on this porch, in this light. The coffee's cold, but the morning is warm. The birds are still coming by, and I'm finally just here. Not worried about yesterday, not trying to control tomorrow, just here. And that's enough. That's more than enough. What are you still carrying that you don't need to? What would it feel like to set it down? If this touched something in you, I'd love to hear your story. Leave a comment. Share this with someone who might need it. Let's remind each other that it's okay to let go. We're all just trying to find our way home. And maybe, just maybe, home is lighter than we think.